Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to round 7 and 8. That's right, 2 rounds tonight of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Performa Texas Elite Graphics. I'm Greg Ginsberg, and joining me in the commentary booth, as always, is Larry Lefty McLeod, and we've got the two Johns, Jonathan Grabowski and John Robertson in the virtual production truck, bringing you all the best camera angles and action that Apex Racing TV is known for. So tonight, we move east from California wine country to the track that for over 60 years has been the sentimental home of Canadian road racing. The course that put the Can in Can-Am and the original home of the Formula One Canadian Grand Prix. That's right, Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, otherwise known and more affectionately known as Mosport. And so, hey, Larry, last week we talked about the short straights, the constant elevation changes, and the lack of threshold braking zones at Sonoma, like it was a bad thing for these Mazda MX-5 racers. And, here at CTMP, you have pretty much all those exact same traits. So why is the racing always so much more exciting here?
It is very similar in that there isn't a whole lot of threshold braking, but the speeds are a lot higher here. It's just going to be a lot of throwing these things around, carrying all the momentum. If we had the little graphic of percentage of lap at wide open throttle, I think around here in an MX-5, it's probably about 97%. You pretty much lift at the hairpin and you're flat everywhere else.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you get a little bit of draft, a bunch of side-by-side, the track's wide enough and the turns are soft enough that you can definitely go side-by-side in a lot of places. We're going to see some great action all around this place, and it's got all the elevation changes just to throw enough wrinkles in within our two classes. It's going to be a good time tonight.
Yeah, indeed. And I think we've got our drivers there starting, I think, to head to the pit lane. Their practice is finishing up over here now. So let's do this, Larry. With that kind of lead in, let's go back to old familiar. Bobby Childs last week, if you saw us at Germany last week for the World Challenge, we had Bobby Childs giving his very excitable track guide. My understanding, and Bobby's not racing this week, my understanding is when he hit that curving at turn 1 to demonstrate what Murder, She Wrote really was like, he might have hurt his back, and he isn't going to be racing with us here tonight. But I digress. Let's turn things over to Kevin Ford. He's back this week. He's going to give us our track guide of Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Mosport.
Welcome, everyone, to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Great to have you with us as we provide you your track guide today around this incredible course here in Bowmanville, Canada. Well, let's get ready to head up the front straightaway here. You'll notice what a fast and flowing course this is as we head down into turn 1. This will be a fast drop off to the right. Let the car sweep down to the bottom here, get right back to throttle. Carry that momentum right to the outside of the exit there. Then we're going to head up into turn 2 here. This one is a tricky one. You got to really hold on and get a nice line on that entry as that corner just drops right out from underneath you. And then you've got to get right backtrack left for turn 3. This one here cuts back across, get back to throttle right at apex. A lot of space in this corner. It really opens up wide, and you will see some overtaking opportunities heading down here into 4 and, of course, 5A and B. We head down in here, we're going to get hard on the brakes and roll up into this very tight double right-hander of 5A, let the car rotate right back to the bottom in 5B, and then right back to throttle, wide open as we head up onto the backstretch. Couple of slight corners to the right here. This is obviously one of the biggest overtaking opportunities here at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. As we head around turn 6, we'll approach turn 7 here. This is another slight right-hander. As we head up into a blind entry to this very fast sweeping right-hander of turn 8. Get down into 4th gear here. Let the car rotate to the bottom. Come off the throttle, tap the brake, let it rotate. Come right back down, track left here for the final corner, let it rotate, and then right back to the throttle, wide open up off the exit, and that'll bring you back to the start-finish line here. There you go. There's your track guide for beautiful Mosport, or Canadian Tire Motorsports Park as it's commonly known now.
All right, and thanks so much to Kevin Ford. One of these days, Larry, he'll hit an apex. Just kidding. But thanks so much to Kevin Ford for tonight's track guide of Mosport Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, as our drivers are now heading out on track for their qualifying session. Again, this is rounds 7 and 8 tonight. Our drivers are going to be on track right now. They've got 15 minutes to set their fastest lap for the starting grid for race number 1 this evening, for round number 7. And we give them 4 flying laps. They've got the track all to themselves. We call it lone qualifying, and qualifying just started about 2 minutes ago. We don't have any times in the books yet, as we're on board right now with Travis Schwenke, driver of the number 16 Orion Racing Mazda MX-5. But Larry, as they are heading out on track, we do have 2 classes of drivers. We've got our AM category, we've got our pro category. As we watch right now, Travis Schwenke, he is one of our pro category drivers, and you can tell because he's got those red mirrors on the doors, he's got the red number boards as well. And if we then go and take a look at our AM category drivers, they have the, and we're moving over now to Greg Brockway, in the AM category, they have the green mirrors, they've got the green number boards as well, and that's how you'll be able to tell them apart while they're on track. And once we have some drivers that have actually put in some qualifying times, you'll notice on the left-hand side of the screen when we put up that timing pylon, we'll have them separated out in red and green as well, so you'll be able to tell exactly who is who. So Larry, let's do this. Let's quickly, as we're talking about pro and AM and the different classes, let's take a quick look back 2 weeks ago to Sonoma Raceway. We'll give you a quick rundown of how things finished up and our current point standings, and we'll start off with the AM category, since it looks like the first drivers across the stripe were all in green there. Taking the win at Sonoma, margin of victory 2 seconds, Jeff Cranston in the Craney Customs number 97 machine. He beat Steve Daniel to the line. Daniel representing SKKJ Racing. Mike Taylor, who I believe is going to be our, should be our pre-race interview here tonight. He came in third, and we brought him in for the interview. I think he was quite surprised to find himself on the podium there, but it was a great run for Mike Taylor. David Payne and John Casey finished just off the podium. And so if we take a look at the point standings now with 6 rounds complete, Jeff Cranston now with a 13-point advantage over Steve Daniel. Just 1 point back from there, Mike Taylor in the Frito Sport Racing machine, the number 66 car. Then we've got David Payne and Greg Brockway rounding out the top 5. But you can see there, once you get past, practically once you get back to like 7th or 8th place, it is still pretty tight running here with now 3 races remaining. And I did say that our first race, round number 7, the qualifying is going to be setting the grid for that first race. After race 1 is over, what we are going to do is we're going to take that finishing order from the first race from round number 7. We're going to invert the top 7 drivers and then going to grid them all up as they finished, with the exception of that inversion. How they all finished in round number 7, that's how we're going to start round number 8, both races tonight, 30 minutes in length. So let's take a look now at our pro category, where John Allen from Seamless Racing, and this was Larry, really, we talk about and we kind of laugh at the quality of the racing at Sonoma sometimes, but this was really a great race to watch, as John Allen and Mike Dam were out there. John Allen definitely on old tires, starting to give away on him, and just a great battle as John Allen in his pit rotation worked his way around Mike Dam. Margin of victory for John Allen, 92 hundredths of a second. Mike Dam's teammate from Orion Racing, Robert Hartley, came in 3rd, and then we had Chris Thorman and Travis Schwenke, Thorman from D2D and Schwenke from Orion, finishing 4th and 5th. And we take a look at the point standings now after 6 rounds. It is John Allen from Seamless Racing with a 9-point advantage, 146 points to the 137 for Robert Hartley. And so, Hartley finishing on the last step on the podium, missed out on some key points there, but he is 9 points back from our leader. Then we've got Brennan Horn in the D2D E-Racing machine. He is 28 points out of the championship right now. He finished 6th 2 weeks ago at Sonoma. Then we've got Travis Schwenke, 3 points back from there, and then Mike Dam, 1 point back from his Orion Racing teammate, currently sitting 5th in the championship, and actually he is tied right now with Chris Thorman from D2D E-Racing, both drivers there at 114 points. Again, just one behind Travis Schwenke, but pretty close run in there so far. But with the exception of right at the top of the field there.
Yeah, just take a look at the details behind those points, specifically there in the pro category. John Allen currently is sitting on, I believe it's 3 wins, including that last round there, as you mentioned, at Sonoma, as well as a 3rd place finish from Suzuka round 2. He's dropped his other races, so that's a pretty strong resume going into tonight's 2 rounds, and in 2 weeks then our final round for the season. Hartley in 2nd. He's carrying a 2nd, a 3rd, a 2nd, and a 1st, and there's your points difference. That 9 points difference comes down to Hartley needs to build that resume. He needs the win tonight. If he can get the win and drop one of those 4th places, that puts him probably down about 3-4 points at a shot to win this thing going into the last round. So he's going to definitely need some strong finishes tonight. He can't afford to have a bad start, can't afford to have a bad race, and ultimately he's got to stay ahead of John Allen. Otherwise, Allen's going to be stepping one step closer to winning another championship right here. So that'll be fun to watch those battles there in the pro category.
Yeah, well, indeed, Larry. It is going to be a great fight here. Now, of course, no pit stops in tonight's race with the 2 30-minute battles going on here. So, that kind of strategy is out the window. It's going to be, what to the wall from the drop of the green flag in both of these races. And, I guess the important thing there is determining where they finish at the end of race 1. Certainly they want to take the overall win. But we've got that 2nd round, and that could be the deciding factor. Both of these races, even with that inverted start, pay out the same number of points as one of our longer races, one of our longer 60-minute races. So We'll see how that plays out now as we're just a little bit over halfway on time through qualifying. We've got a few drivers that have completed their allocated 4 flying laps. Travis Schwenke just crossing the line in the number 16 machine. Best he can do at the moment is 3rd fastest with a time of 1:33.21. His teammate Robert Hartley has also completed his 4 flying laps, a 1:32.94, currently good enough for 2nd fastest. And working his last lap currently is Mike Dam in the number 93 machine, also from Orion Racing. He is your provisional pole sitter at the moment. If he decides to complete this lap, he may be able to stretch that advantage over Robert Hartley, and possibly put himself in a little bit safer position as qualifying goes on here. He's looking to improve upon a 1:32.72. John Allen, our winner from last week now, he bumps Travis Schwenke out from the inside of row number 2. Is going to put him to the outside of row number 2. John Allen on his last flying lap is 4th, puts in a 1:33.08.
That was big. That was big for John Allen, because up to that point, through 3 laps, he was sitting down in 7th. And again, that's great at the end of the race if you want to get a great starting spot for the 2nd race. But John Allen, as we mentioned, needs to kind of block Hartley. And so what's the better way to do that than starting basically 1 row behind him? But if he's 4 rows back, that would have made a tough, tall order around this very difficult to pass track. So he does go ahead and pull one out, ends up right now, at least with a couple minutes left, sitting there 3rd. And I'm looking down the rank here. I see Greg Mack still has a couple laps to go, David Payton, but a lot of the front 5 have all finished their 4 laps.
Yeah, and Greg Mack was our fastest driver in practice during the week. He turned in a 1:32.8, and so you can see Mike Dam with his provisional pole times just still a little bit underneath that. We'll see if Mack can get close. If he puts in that 1:32.8, that would be enough to put him onto the front row. A little surprised to see Nate Nicholson right now sitting down in 8th position as the Team Hardpoint driver has driven, or probably not Hardpoint, Delta Sport driver. We've seen him start on the front 2 and sometimes 3 rows. By the way, Nate Nicholson just recognized by iRacing a couple of hours ago with the number 3 iRacing highlight of the week as he was in a fixed Ferrari race. If you have a chance to see that, go over to iRacing's YouTube channel.
Was it a positive highlight, or was it a
yes
highlight?
Yes, it was.
Good.
I think he took the win there. And as we were talking, Brennan Horn, who right now, as we mentioned, is sitting 3rd in the championship. He jumped a couple of positions there, moves up to 6th fastest here at the moment. Now, if we take a look at our AM category, it looks like all of our AM drivers have completed their qualifying, with the exception, I think, of Nick Parsono. And we'll have to see if Mike Key goes out and sets a time. But for the moment, Mike Taylor in the number 66 Frito Sport machine, he is your provisional pole sitter. And we'll have to see if he shows up in the green room. If he does, we'll bring him in for a few moments and talk to him. Russ Ruddick in the number 95 machine. Ruddick driving for... oh my gosh, all of a sudden I forgot who Russ Ruddick is driving for. Help me.
I'm trying to think. I've got it up over here. I will tell you in a moment.
Yeah, I think it's D2D, but I may be wrong there. But Russ Ruddick, currently your 2nd fastest driver in AM. Steve Daniel from SKKJ, he is currently your 3rd fastest driver, and David Payne, 4th fastest in AM, as we've got still just about 2 minutes remaining.
Flying Tortoise Motorsports.
Flying Tortoise, there it is.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Russ.
We're going to get it in there, though. We'll make sure everybody knows that Russ Ruddick's part of the Flying Tortoise.
Yeah, he doesn't seem so slow tonight. 2nd fastest in qualifying. And that, by the way, that is 11th and 12th overall. As we're on board right now with Nate Nicholson, and that's just a cool-down lap for him, as he's already completed his 4th flying lap. I think this is
one of those tracks that everybody gets a lot of practice on. At this point, if it's not free, it may as well be, because everybody has Mosport. We know we've run this pretty much every season in one or both of the ongoing Ricmotech series. So I think everybody's familiar with this place. I think at this point, everyone's settled in with what setups need to be here for these MX5 Cup cars. And you're seeing that with the way the qualifying's really tight. A second covers the top, whatever it is, 10 places or whatever. And then you got another second for the next 10 or so places. That's pretty tight if you think about it in this kind of a series. As Nate Nicholson working on getting some extra heat in the rear tires here on lap number 5 or 6 or whatever he's out there practicing. But definitely it's one of those places where everyone's familiar with it. Everybody knows how to race around here. Now it just comes down to execution. Can you get the right spot? Can you nudge your way in to get around somebody and pick up a place or two and try to get some points here, as we are late in the season and points have been at a premium at this stage.
All right, so we're watching now John Allen, who's also going and just trying to get a few extra laps in here before qualifying ends. I think the only drivers that did not complete 4 flying laps were Greg Mack, and only took 2 flying laps and brought the car in. And then in addition to that, AM category driver Steve Daniel, who did 3 flying laps and felt the third fastest was good enough for him. We did talk about the 98 machine of Michael Key. He did manage to set a time, a 135.16. That's good enough for 11th in AM, just ahead of Patrick Provenis.
All right, so that ends qualifying there as we've hit our 15 minutes and get things queued up and get this first 30-minute sprint underway.
All right, well, let's take a look at our starting grid, shall we, Larry? I'll take the pros if you want to take the AMs. Starting off on pole with a time of 1:32.715 from Orion Racing, it's Mike Dam. Robert Hartley, his teammate, will start just to his left on the outside of row number 1. John Allen, our championship leader from Seamless Racing, he'll start 3rd tonight with Travis Schwenke from Orion Racing starting in 4th. Then we've got the D2D E-Racing number 60 machine of Chris Thorman. He's going to start 5th tonight with Brennan Horan in the number 45 D2D E-Racing machine starting on the outside of row number 3. Greg Mack from Team Esport Racer, he is going to start 7th tonight with Nate Nicholson from Delta Sport starting in 8th. Then we've got David Payton. He's going to start 9th tonight for D2D E-Racing. And then Jeff Jacobs in the StreetSurvival.org machine. He starts 10th.
All right. On row 6, we've got the first couple of starters here in RAM category on that provisional pole. I guess that is a pole for that class. Mike Taylor, Frito Sport Racing, alongside from Flying Tortoise Motorsports, Russ Ruddick. They're on row 6. On row 7, it's going to be SKKJ Racing's Steve Daniel alongside David Payne from DP Racing. Row 8 on the inside, in fact, the whole row is Frito Sport Racing. The inside is going to be Edgar Sancinelli, the outside, Greg Brockway. On row 9, it's going to be Paul Carey and his Carey Racing on the inside of row 9. And the outside from Scuderia Tartaruga, Eric Kleister. On row 10, it's 046 Racing's John Casey, alongside Nick Parsono from NAP Motorsports. And on row 11, Robert Brist, RFC Racing, and Mike Key from Frito Sport. And finally on row 12, Patrick Provenis from Frito Sport Racing.
All right, there you go. There is your starting grid as we get ready for our drivers to start their pace laps and listening to the instructions that they were just given. They can, of course, go and scrub in tires, whatever it takes for them to get some heat in these MX5 machines up until they get to Moss Corner, but they want to see them all start to get formed up as they head onto the Andretti straightaway here on the northern portion of the course. Larry, as they're out here starting this pace lap, let's remind all of our viewers and watchers that if you like what you see here tonight, please give us a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to Apex Racing TV, now would be a pretty good time to do so.
No time like the present.
No time like the present. Click on that notification bell so you can find out about all the times Apex goes live. And if you ever want to catch up with us on social media, just search for one word on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. It's Apex Racing TV. And actually, I know that's like 3 words, but smush them all together into one.
Well, this will be a fun start to this race because as we've talked about, Hartley and John Allen are in kind of a really tight points battle, and it would be great if teammate to Hartley, Travis Schwenke, currently starting alongside John Allen, would help out the team a little bit and maybe try and get up alongside John as they go through turn 1. Maybe he'll get the outside and then subsequently inside for turn 2. That would help push John down the order a little bit, but John will be fighting for that spot. He'll be on the inside of 1. That's the fascinating thing about this track is often turn 1 is pretty much flat out in these cars. Yeah. The driver who can hold an outside line if they're side by side gets the inside of 2, and you need to be. 2 is off camber, downhill, essentially flat out with warm tires. And if you have that inside, you can hold that position, and then it becomes very difficult to pass. So Schwenke becomes very key to Hartley's success tonight.
Yeah, indeed, Larry, and I think the key there, as you said, is you have the inside line there going into 2, and you said on warm tires. If you are off camber on the outside, on cold tires.
Oh, let's just say my IR04 race last week with my buddies didn't go so well when I was that driver on the inside who couldn't hold my line through 2 and decided to wipe out the entire 12-car field. But we're gonna talk about that another day, as we've got really good action about to start. And these drivers are way better than me.
So you say, Your Eminence. But all right, we've got our pole sitter Mike Dam leading the field through the S's right now. We do have a real live starter here and an early green flag. Green flag is in the air before they even come out of turn 10. And so they are going to be full bore on the throttle coming down the front straight. We've got Mike Dam to the inside, drivers right. Then we've got Hartley trying to cut across the nose of John Allen. As Allen now kind of trapped, he's going to be trapped to the outside as they come down the hill and go down towards turn 2. Hartley set up to the inside, drivers left, and Schwenke now coming down to the inside of John Allen as well. Tries to get some overlap and maybe cut across the nose, as we've now got Nate Nicholson, who's already made up 2 positions in that red number 23 machine, kind of getting bottled up. But as they come through turn 3, start to head up a little bit uphill towards turn 4, it is Mike Dam, Robert Hartley, John Allen, Travis Schwenke, your top 4.
Nicholson's definitely the man on the move. As you said, he's now up 3 spots where he started. Look at him. Now he wants to tuck underneath Schwenke and take away that 4th spot. So Nate Nicholson, hard charger so far, half a lap in. But great job for John Allen to stay aggressive. That early green flag, I think, may have caught everybody a little bit. It certainly caught us as they went green before they even finished the last corner before the front straight. But really good job there for John Allen to get on the gas and hold Schwenke behind him so now he can have a direct shot at Hartley. All he needs to do tonight is just fill the mirrors of Hartley and maybe try and get around them one of the 2 races. That might be enough for him. For Hartley, though, he needs help. He would like to get around his teammate at some point, Mike Dam, and maybe put some daylight between he and Allen. But I think these 30 minutes is going to be one of the toughest fought sprints we'll probably see the whole season.
It definitely will, Larry, here as we saw the number 3 of Hartley take a peek to the inside on our leader, Mike Dam, as they came down towards the end of the Andretti straightaway. A little bit of a surprise there to maybe see him throwing his teammate maybe off his game just a little bit, or he may have been sticking to the inside to try and head something off from John Allen in the number 101 machine, who we're on board with right now. A little bit further than that, we were talking about Nate Nicholson, who made up 3 positions on the start in that red Delta Sport machine. He had Brendan Horn in the 45 D2D iRacing machine tucked up right underneath, but it wasn't until they got to the S's that they were able to pull right back to the back of the number 16 machine as they start to roll down the hill here, and they're going to head back up almost as quickly as they drop down, head up to the top by the Moss corner, that double apex right-hander that leads you onto the longest straightaway here at Mosport.
Yeah, Horan doing a great job of sticking to the back of Nicholson. Doesn't want to let him go. Nicholson would love to get by Schwenke because he's already starting to see that potential for daylight there between the top 3 and the Schwenke, Nicholson, Horan battle going on for 4, 5, and 6. But as we flash back into the pack here a little bit, there you've got Mike Taylor, your leader in the M category, with about a couple of car lengths over Russ Ruddock already, as Taylor's trying to hold to the back of David Payton there in the D2D e-racing team. And to try and keep a little bit of daylight, Taylor would love to pull out a win here and maybe find himself, if he can, all the way up to that 7th spot, which is, of course, the transfer spot for race number 2. So let's keep an eye on Mike Taylor, see if he's able to move up at all, or if maybe some folks in front of him help his cause a little bit. But he's got a lot of work. You can see already he's dropped back a little bit of daylight in front of him. He's got daylight behind it, just kind of by himself, and that's a tough place to be at a heavy draft track like this.
It is definitely, Larry, is certainly he'd want to be able to grab a hold of the cars in front of him and pull up, but he's got a couple seconds now separating himself from David Payton and Jeff Jacobs just ahead as we jump up back to this lead pack led by Mike Dam, then Hartley, and we saw John Allen there with a rear end really walking out on him as he came down through turn 1 to start lap number 3 here, and has also maybe lost a little bit of ground. He loses a little bit of ground coming through the S's and through the first couple corners, makes it up again under the draft here on this fairly long Andretti straightaway here, but for the moment, Dam and Hartley starting to move away, and there you get Hartley taking that little peek to the inside, Larry.
Yeah, Brennan Horn lost a couple of spots there as well. As you can see, Hartley now trying to make the move. He does look like he's going to go around the outside as they head up into the S's. He's got it. Now he's got daylight. He's got Mike Dam, teammate now between he and John Allen, that rival. That's important for Hartley. But also looking back in there, Brennan Horn had gone a little wide at 3, touched the grass, was able to recover, stayed in line with this. That was a pretty impressive save, if you ask me. But he's going to have to hang on because as this thing continues and this snake starts to whip back and forth, the tail end becomes harder and harder to hang on.
All right, here we come. And once again, you see John Allen maybe drifting a little bit off the apex there, might be losing a little bit of speed coming down the hill. Didn't seem to hurt him that much this last time by, only about a quarter of a car, actually about a half a car length off of our 2 leaders. And now coming out of turn 2A, we saw that Hartley maybe ran just a little bit wide and might have lost a little bit of ground to his teammate and leader as they head back up the hill towards the through turn 4 and over towards the hairpin.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I tend to run all the way down that hill as well. I think you do have time to get back. The key there is always corner exit everywhere to the longest straightaway. So coming off at 3 is important. Coming off of here, obviously at Moss, is the most important corner on the entire track because it does lead you uphill and down the longest straightaway. Let's see how good of a run does Hartley get from the lead. We saw the last lap that he was able to get a run, use the draft to get around teammate. Dam looks like he's doing the same to Hartley this time.
Yeah.
And Allen looks like he wants to make this a 3-way fight, maybe even go 3 wide into the S's. Look at Dam, though, kind of hold him back. See if looks like John Allen's able to tuck inside. Big move there for Allen.
And Allen gets underneath the number 93 machine, coming through turn number 9, and as they come out onto the front straight, he is going to be your second place driver as he crosses the stripe, but probably gets ahead of Robert Hartley in the number 3 machine as John Allen in that little exchange is able to open up a little bit of an advantage, about 2, maybe 2.5 car lengths. Should be noted, not on this lap, but on the previous lap, Chris Thorman had run the fastest lap of the race in the number 60 D2D machine, sitting right back behind Nate Nicholson, right in the middle of that pack, and a big pack it is as we go all the way back to Greg Mack in the number 2 machine, the Team Esport Racer machine. So at this point, it's an 8-car battle for the lead. As here we've got them fanning out, Larry.
Yeah, that's a dangerous there to go side by side. It's going to have to all get sorted out before they get down to Moss, which I think they may have finally done. But everybody's getting a little bit aggressive here. We're starting to see some varying exit speeds off some of the corners, allowing some more side by sides. This is going to be a fascinating way. They're all treating this as an absolutely short sprint that every position matters. Clearly, they're not. This is not one of our 75-minute races tonight. Everybody knows this is going to happen quickly, and they don't want to be caught out.
Yeah, and Larry, as they made the run up to Moss, big changes as Travis Schwenke in the Orion Racing number 16. He's now your 3rd place car. Oh. And then Nate Nicholson, who we were just tracking, who had made up 4 positions. You see Nicholson going off track, going on that little excursion nice through the grass. And just as quickly as Nate Nicholson had moved up the 4th position, he now falls all the way back in the 7th, sitting towards the tail end of that little pack. And I said just a few moments ago that Greg Mack was at the tail end of that train in the 8th position. Well, let's add another driver, David Payton, who's now worked his way into that lead battle as well. But kind of unfortunate there for Nate Nicholson, as he had a great run coming down the end of the straightaway there, Larry. And you just saw it. He couldn't get the braking done, and
well, he just went inside of Brennan Horn here, so he's already picking up spots. But he's being very aggressive, and sometimes that aggression does not pay off. Getting caught on the outside, going into the S's is not an easy task, and he found out, luckily, that there is some paved asphalt out there that was able to save the car, because if that was still a gravel trap, forget it. He'd be gone. But look at him now already as he's up onto the back of Chris Thorman. He wants that 5th spot back, and he might just get it with just a little bit of draft and this good run he appears to have gotten off of Moss.
All right, and as we are watching the trials and tribulations of Nate Nicholson in that number 23 Delta Sport machine, a new leader emerges. That is John Allen in the Seamless Racing 101 machine, as he managed to get around Mike Dam, the number 93 car. But Dam now, as they come up to the S's, both he and Travis Schwenke are going to contest that. And this is just what we saw just 2 laps ago, where we had Allen to driver's left, and as he had gotten around Robert Hartley, and now, a little bit of a wiggle from John Allen as they come through turn 9 in the 10.
Yeah, there's a ton of wiggle through there, as that is a tough maneuver. You can do it. You can go side by side there, but as soon as somebody wiggles, that's a lot of wiggle. That is contact there, as Schwenke's the one that takes the brunt of that blow, and he's off there just on the outside entering 1, but looks like he's able to continue. A little bit of hip check there from John Allen. I think they just sort of all ran out of real estate.
Yeah, indeed they did. As you mentioned, as Schwenke went off into the grass, he now falls back to 6th. John Allen back to 3rd. And here, tell you what, let's take a look here, Larry, and see how this all played out. As by the way, Nate Nicholson now back up to 4th, almost right back where he was. Let's take a look here at the replay here.
Yeah,
on
this is Steve
screen.
Daniel now. Coming up, just going by the cars in front of him, but he is going to get caught in it as they came back on track. And I believe that was Ruddock. It was the one that came across the track and got him. Unfortunately for Ruddock, he's out, and unfortunately for Steve Daniel, he becomes the innocent bystander, the victim in that one.
Ugh, yeah, definitely hate to see that, as he just really couldn't anticipate the car coming all the way back across the track on him here. As we jump back to the live action, as we've got Mike Dam, as we've got Robert Hartley, our 2 Orion Racing teammates, your top 2, and now
and look
Dam
at Nicholson. Nicholson's got himself right back up there with Schwenke going off there on the last time by up near turn 1. That allowed Nicholson to duck underneath, and it was of course John Allen that had made the contact with Schwenke, so that's caused him to drop out now behind the 2 Orion teammates. And so now it's Orion, followed by Allen and Nicholson, 3 and 4.
Yeah, it only took 2 corners, Larry, for Nate Nicholson to make up 3 positions as the 101 and the 16 had come together. But so Schwenke now still sitting back in 6th. Chris Thorman in the 60 machine somehow managed to avoid all that, although again he gave up that position to Nicholson as all the mayhem was happening around him here. But now Mike Dam has opened up perhaps his largest lead of the race as we jump a little bit further back here as we take a look. We've got the number 62 of Brockway currently sitting now 3rd in AM. He's got David Payne, who's sitting 2nd right ahead of him, and then Mike Taylor, who is our pole sitter in the class, started 11th tonight, still running 11th, and he's got a little bit of clearance.
Well, with that incident involving Russ Ruddock, that took him out of that position and slowed everyone up a little bit behind them. That's put the daylight now between Taylor and this battle of Sancinelli and Payne. So it's good for Taylor, but for Payne and Brockway, those are the 2 in class trying to chase down Mike Taylor, and they've got Edgar Sancinelli now sort of right there between them.
Yeah, and we've got, let's not forget Nick Parsono, who's the 4th car in that train there, currently sitting just off the podium in 15th position overall, 4th in class. He's made up 5 positions so far here tonight, but now it looks like we've got
Brockway.
Brockway going to driver's left, trying to make a move on Payne. Payne pushes him all the way out to the edge of the track, and as they go into the S's, looks like he's maybe held off the attack for at least a few more corners.
Remember, the Sancinelli and Brockway are both Frito Sport drivers. Those guys are teammates, and it wouldn't be a bad thing here for Sancinelli to sort of make it difficult for David Payne in between them and help Mr. Brockway out. But right now, Brockway is trying all the moves, and none of them are sticking as we flash back to the front of the field.
And here we go is Mike Dam once again, as we're now a little bit just shy of halfway through this 30-minute round, round number 7 of 9 here in the Classic Sprint Series. And Mike Dam, your leader once again in the number 93 Orion Racing machine, and both he and Hartley now have, well, I was going to say they've opened up a little bit of an advantage on John Allen, but as they come up the hill and go into the Moss hairpin, well, that advantage, well, it disappears. But damn, almost every single lap, Larry seems to get a much better jump out of Moss and onto the straight.
He's getting a better run than Hartley, but I think also Allen and Nicholson are getting a better runs than Hartley. Hartley's the one that's got the bit of a struggle to get the hook off of the Moss hairpin as we're on board with Brennan Horn down the back straight as he's trying to keep up with Schwenke. And again, the further down this thing that goes, and we've got 2 and 3 wide at the front. I don't want to break away from that, but that's a little bit of an aggressive move now for Allen getting around Hartley, and it looks like Nicholson wants to do the same, but they're going to remain side by side as they go through turn 10.
And Hartley he's got Nicholson by just a little bit coming onto the front straight. I'm sure Nicholson was maybe looking for a little bit more overlap as they went down into turn 1, but you said it, Larry, worn tires, and Nicholson's going to have position as they come down the hill towards turn number 2. Oh, jumping as he hits the curb. That was Chris Thorman in the number 60 machine jumping across the track there, but just ahead of him, Nicholson now moves up in the 3rd.
I'll tell you what, around here, you have to use a lot of curbs. You have to use every bit of it. Of course, you're trying to go flat out around turn 1, which it kind of plummets downhill. It's got a nice little bitey apex. And then as Nicholson runs a little wide and finds that there's not much grip in the grass, he's going to get back on. But what's one of those things coming off of turn 1 is that curbing's great, but the grass the other side may as well be ice because the car will snap hard if you miss it and catch some of that grass on the other side of that curb. So that may have been what happened there to a couple of our drivers, but that causes some of these gaps. So you got to be real careful not to get onto that grass. But now, Dam and Allen has sort of broke away a little bit. Got about 4 or 5 car lengths, so Hartley and Schwenke behind them.
Yeah, and as Nicholson, realized that, again, there's a lot more grip on track than off track, it might have caused both Hartley and Schwenke maybe to check up just a little bit. And Nicholson right now is his own worst enemy as he's made his way up to 4th, fallen back to 7th, made his way up to 3rd, now finds himself back in 5th.
He's getting paid per pass is what he's getting paid for. So he can give up spots. He only gets paid for the upsides. And he's right now he's going to get a big paycheck tonight as he's been passing everybody as his wipers are going on. I gotta love the auto wiper setting now in iRacing for these windshield cars. You don't get full of dirt and stuff. But yeah, he has been a busy man, which means he's aggressive. And here we are only, can you believe it, halfway through this 30-minute sprint of all the action we've had. Only halfway. Nicholson feels like he's been out there for 4 hours with the number of cars he's had to pass. But it means he can. And he's got the confidence to know he can do it at any time. This has been one of his favorite spots going into 3. And Schwenke right now trying to hold position to keep Nicholson behind him. Nicholson's been very good there. Opportunity, it doesn't exist really a lot. Best place obviously is the end of the back straight going into the 8-9S's and maybe going down into 1, but Nicholson has been able to pass everywhere.
Yeah, he as long as he can keep all 4 wheels on the pavement, he has a little bit of a wiggle from him there as he comes up over the crest of the hill in the moss and comes onto the straight. But we've again got Robert Hartley, who I think we highlighted here a couple laps ago, maybe not getting the best runs out of the Moss hairpin, and he's sitting there back in 3rd. He's managed to draft back up to John Allen, and I think the length of the straightaway here maybe hides and masks some of those challenges that Hartley's been having as we're now 2 wide going into the S's as John Allen once again going to try and compete for the lead here as they come into turn 9 and 10, and John Allen right up alongside the 93 machine as they come through the final corner through turn 10, where Mike Dam a little bit better entry, a lot better exit, and we'll see if Allen can hold that position on the outside as they go down into turn 1.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. These guys all collect data, as it looks like Schwenke and Nicholson again side by side there for the 4th and 5th positions. But I think it's a and there they go, the same 2. That's Schwenke and Nicholson. Hard into the wall.
And in the exact same place that we saw it happen earlier, Larry, and both Nicholson and Travis Schwenke off in the grass. We'll get back and hopefully have a replay of that in a second. But that now has opened up a little bit of a gap between Mike Dam, John Allen, back to our 3rd place runner, Hartley. And Hartley going for a ride.
Hartley's wide at 3, so everybody's now struggling. I don't know that these tires are going that far away, but everyone's trying to position and forgetting that you still got to stay on the track as Brennan Horn's able to go on Hartley. Greg Mack going to take a peek down the inside of the number 3, and he's not going to get there. But Hartley's got to collect himself. He's got points to gather if he wants to have a shot to win this championship. Falling 5 positions down or 3 positions down from John Allen is probably not going to help him. He's got work to do in the next 12 minutes.
All right, Larry, let's take a quick look here. I think we've got queued up the replay here as it happened on the front straight just a few moments ago as we're on board with the 23 of Nathan Nicholson coming down, and and there he goes. They were going into turn 1. And,
and they were side by side going in. I'm thinking Schwenke may have thought he was clear about 3/4 of the way through the corner. He was definitely not, as Nicholson was still there. And, well, the two of them have to go share Molson and have to talk this one out before the next race.
That's right. And, it'll be a long, lonely tow to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Well, actually, they've got another race. Hopefully, miraculously, I think their cars will be fixed and ready in time for tonight's second race. But they're going to have a tough time of it, as they're going to be starting from pretty far back in the pack.
Well, Schwenke will be for sure, but Nicholson actually continued. He's sitting only in 10th, so take a look at that. In his gap, he's got about 15 seconds, though, to catch that 7th transfer spot. But he's at least able to continue. He'll be collecting some points and starting mid-pack in this next race. So he was able to continue even despite that big hit into the wall.
All right, as we see there's the 23 Delta Sport machine, and the car doesn't look to be in that bad a shape right now. We'll see how it does when he gets onto the straightaway, and whether or not he's given up speed there. Right back behind him, we've got Edgar Sancinelli, who's still right in the middle of this battle.
This hasn't changed.
In the AM, he's still got David Payne in the 31 machine sitting on his bumper, trying to find a way around, trying to use that 57 machine. Well, I was going to say use the 57 machine as a pick between he and Greg Brockway in the 62, but hasn't happened yet. And not that he'd have to worry about using Sancinelli as a pick, because, well, as you mentioned earlier, they're kind of on the same team.
Yeah, he would love Sancinelli to kind of slow down a little bit and maybe sort of make things difficult on David Payne. I don't know if that's going to happen, as Sancinelli seems to think he can just latch himself to the back of maybe a lightly wounded Nicholson and tag along with him for a little bit of a tow. Maybe making it even harder for Brockway to stick with Payne, but he's going to have to, and that is not the fast way around.
No, it is not.
And that was Parsono, wasn't it?
That was the 57 of Edgar Sancinelli, who went around, ended up sitting on the pit lane, and so I guess now Greg Brockway doesn't have his wingman there any longer, and that is going to move David Payne up to 11th overall. And he's still a little bit of a distance back there, not only from Nate Nicholson, but Mike Taylor, a long way up the road right now. Mike Taylor, our leader in the AM category, sitting almost, I think, at this point, about almost 8 seconds up from our second place runner in AM, David Payne.
Yeah, so we get back up to this front group. Still a 7-car train leading this way. Mike Dam over John Allen, Chris Thorman, Brennan Horn, Rob Hartley, and then Greg Mack, David Payton. So watching Hartley, see if he can get around Brennan Horn and maybe have a shot as to work his way up with probably, what are we running, about 1.5 minutes a lap. We got about 9 minutes to go. So we still got about 6 laps or so. But he's going to have to probably pick off almost one of these a lap, hoping he doesn't give those places back to have a shot to win this thing at the end. But right now, he's got one guy to worry about, and that is Brennan Horn.
All right, Larry, I think we've got queued up here from a lap ago. I believe it's Edgar Sancinelli, the number 57 machine. We'll see exactly what happened when he went into the S's. And what happened was he hit the wall coming out of turn 9. And towards the pit lane. We told Edgar that there probably weren't going to be any pit stops here tonight, but he tried to do it anyhow. And unfortunately, Edgar now finds himself back. He did manage to continue after that wall strike, but he's sitting back in 16th overall.
Just like linear algebra, walls are hard.
Yes, they are. God, I'm thinking now is sine, cosine. Well, that's geometry. Yeah, same thing. All right, here's we jump back to our lead back.
All the math majors are like, he's right.
Yeah. Hey, after failing Calc 3 times, Larry, I'm not putting up a fight here. All right.
I've seen you do math.
Yes.
I don't want to say I'm not surprised, but I'm not surprised. But let's go on board with Rob Hartley now, as he still needs to get around. Now with about 5 laps to go, time is running out. It's time is of the essence. He needs to get on Brennan Horn. Brennan Horn, of course, has a tow from Chris Thorman, so that helps him, having his teammate right up there. But Hartley needs to be aggressive. He needs to be fast. He needs to get on the move.
And speaking about a move, look at Thorman now moving to the inside on John Allen, battling for second position. I don't know if Thorman thought he'd be here in this position, but definitely getting aggressive with just 7.5 minutes to go here for our first race of the evening. But unfortunately for him, fortunately for John Allen, able to hold him off and maybe make a little bit of an advancement coming through turn one. But obviously the big winner in all this, Mike Dam.
Mike Dam for sure. The Orion driver out in front goes, hey, I almost have draft broken. Now John Allen can probably gain that back up as long as he doesn't face any more pressure from the D2D E-Racing boys behind him. But Thorman, great job to put that pressure on and maybe slow Allen just a bit, helping Brennan Horn and Hartley. Hartley's loving it, except, you know, he still has to make these passes. You can't just be time close. You got to be position close.
Position close as well.
Yeah. It's Horn now trying to just hang on through the bumps and slides like a giant roller coaster here, all the way from the top of turn one to the bottom as you enter the Moss hairpin around this place. It is just one big sweepy roller coaster, and it's rocky at the bottom. You get a good look here on board with Brennan Horn, how bumpy it is, how much undulation there is there going through that hairpin. But I'm wondering if Hartley now has got a run, and there he goes. Maybe gonna try to use the outside.
He's done it multiple times so far. He tried it a couple times on his teammate as he now comes to driver's left on Brennan Horn as they come down the tail end of the Andretti straightaway. And looks like Horn with a good defensive move going into turn 8. Can he hold off the Orion racer here coming into 9? Wow. As Hartley just took the apex away from Horn there going into 9.
Totally sent it. He went in, and now Horn's struggling to stick with him, using a little bit of turn 10 exit extended, able to hold on to it, but it does get slippery out there. But great move for Hartley. Just carried the momentum, chucked it to the apex, was able to slip inside. Now with one D2D E-Racing driver down, he's got one to go before he can catch his rival, John Allen. Let's see if Thorman can now drive with his eyes on his mirrors as well as he was driving forward earlier.
All right, now we're taking a look a little bit further back. This is the battle for second in the AM category. We've got Payne, we've got Brockway, then we've got Nick Parsono in the number 79 machine. And Payne has started to separate himself out just a little bit in that number 31 machine from Brockway in the 62. And Parsono in that all-black machine sitting right back behind him. Then John Casey in the 046 Racing number 78 machine, and tailing along. We haven't talked about him much at all tonight. Eric Kleister in the number 44 machine as well, sitting at the tail end of that line. It's a great little battle going on right now. 5 cars in position here to take it to David Payne with just a few laps remaining, with just about 4 minutes. So again, doing that easy math, Larry, what's that, 3 laps?
About that, yep. As it's going to get tougher and tougher to get a pass. So we haven't talked much about our transfer spot tonight. The top 7 have pretty much decided that at this point, all the way from Mike Dam all the way down to 7th place right now. David Payton, there he is, hanging on to that lead train. If he stays there, he will be pole sitter for round number 2, coming up in about 10 minutes. But he, I'm sure, would love to pick up a couple extra points and maybe try to get around Greg Mack there in front of him. And if he can't, then he and Mack will start the next race on the pole. Interesting looking at our AM category. We're talking about our leader right now. Mike Taylor in that battle going on between Payne Parsono and Brockway Casey there for second. Remember, Jeff Cranston, our leader in the points in AM category, not here. Steve Daniel, we saw him get wiped out earlier. So that leaves, guess who's third? Mike Taylor currently leading. Greg Brockway and David Payne, all 3 of those guys pretty close in those points. And right now they're sitting 1, 2, and 4 in tonight's standings. So a good opportunity to pick up some points and maybe try and take over the lead from Craney and his Craney Customs here with tonight's 2 rounds.
That's right, and we're on board right now and watching Mike Taylor in that number 66 Frito Sport Racing machine. And for the longest time, Larry, he had been kind of sitting out in no man's land. He's made up a lot of ground, as you can see on Jeff Jacobs just ahead of him, currently running 8th in pro, but as we mentioned, it's a long way up to that transfer position, 7th, as we look right now as Robert Hartley taking it to the 60 machine of Thorman. If he can get this position, that'll move him up to 3rd, and of course every point counts at this point as he's trying to make up ground on our championship leader John Allen there in that blue number 1.
He tried that same move there on Thorman that he made stick on Horn, didn't able to make it work there, but he's going to try to hold this line all the way through 1 and maybe slow Thorman down. Thorman doing a great job defensive positioning, keeping Rob Hartley behind him. Hartley working as hard as he can. I think we're still looking at probably this +1, so we should be white flag next time by here. So time is running out for Hartley to try and stick to the back of John Allen. John Allen tonight doing everything he can to keep the points in his favor. And then, of course, Mike Dam has been no worse than about third the entire race tonight. Our pole sitter, and there he is currently leading with about a lap and a half to go and a draft broken, if you look at it from that aspect. Great job so far.
Second and a half advantage right now for the number 93 machine. And Dam sitting back in fourth in the championship, just 1 point back from Schwenke. So at least after this race is over, that is likely going to change as Schwenke sitting currently 22nd overall.
Here comes Hartley.
This race from the pits.
This time Hartley got a great run, a little better than he did the last time on Thorman. Thorman's got the draft behind Allen, though. That's going to help him. As of course, Hartley had to step out of the draft to start this pass. Can he make this stick around 8? It's going to be side by side. It's going to be tight as they go up into 9. Now it's going to be Hartley on the inside. He's going to make the move. Yes, he does, just like he did on Thorman's teammate Horan. But Thorman's going to fight back.
Yeah, look at that move from Thorman trying to do an over-under as we saw Hartley. He made that great move going into turn 8, but it pushed him very deep into turn 9. But the number 3 machine manages to hold off the 60 now as they complete lap number 20. And Larry here with only 5 seconds remaining on the 30-minute clock. We are working our last lap here for round number 7 from Carolina Motorsports Park. I knew I was going to say that at least once tonight. From Canadian Tire Motorsports Park from Mosport.
Just a little further north, but I'm sure you have visited one a lot more often than the other, I assume.
Yeah, and lately, yes.
As Hartley now would love to try and make a move on Allen, but he's got to worry about Thorman and Horan, the teammates behind him. Horan could help his teammate by getting a good run and maybe even a little bit of a bump draft and push Thorman up there as they come bumping up and into the Moss hairpin one more time and then down the Andretti straights. I don't know that Hartley's going to be able to do much. That 8/10 gap to Allen is going to be tough to overcome. He's just hoping to use a little bit of the draft to fend off a battle from Thorman and Horan. It looks like Hartley got just a good enough run to probably hold off that. But Mike Dam, I tell you what, to win a battle like this has been a tough-fought battle. A lot of action left and right, a lot of passing going on Mike Dam as he goes in through 3 more corners to try and get a win here in tonight's first round.
All right, and as they come into the S's there, you can see with an advantage of now over 2 seconds, or almost 2 seconds, is the number 93 of Mike Dam. He comes onto the front straight, drops the wheel in the curbing, and comes across the line, taking the win in round number 7. John Allen, he's going to have to hold off Robert Hartley at the last second there. He does 0.12 of a second, separating Allen and Hartley, finishing 2nd and 3rd. Chris Thorman, he's going to come home in 4th. Brendan Horn will come home in 5th, and Greg Mack, David Payton, Jeff Jacobs. And taking the win here, if he can make just a couple more corners, will in AM, Mike Taylor. There he is coming out of the final corner. Mike Taylor takes the win in AM. David Payne will come home in 2nd. He holds off Nick Parsono. Greg Brockway, who for the longest time had been sitting up in 3rd position in AM. He is
starting the demo derby a little bit early tonight.
A little early, that's it. So Brockway is going to come home 4th in AM.
Brist and Key as Kerry now makes his way through there, and Brist is just going to park it and walk across the track back to the pits.
Yeah, that's like the equivalent of beating your head against a wall, as he just backs up and just keeps driving right back in. I gotta feel sorry for that man. All right, Larry, let's do this. We're going to have our 2nd round of the evening. It is round number 8 of the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series coming up after we take a quick break. We're going to thank some of our sponsors, and we'll be right back with you here from not Carolina, but from Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Mosport. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com. Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
And welcome back to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Mosport for round number 7. Well, we just saw round number 7. We're going to have round number 8 in just a moment here of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Performatech Elite Graphics. I'm Greg Ginsburg along with Larry Lefty McLeod. And, well, Larry...
Yeah, that was a crazy fun race, but
it was.
We're about to do it again, and there's going to be a fun little start of it. We're going to get the order gridded. Remember, we had said we're going to invert the top 7. Right now, the session's set up to invert the top 23, which would be all of them. We're going to assume, we're waiting to hear Race Control tell us, but we assume they're going to do a bit of manual adjustment to that on the fly during the warm-up lap. Let's hope they signed up for the full pace lap.
Yeah,
to give them that amount of time.
Yeah, I hope so. So we've got the drivers. They're on track right now. They're given a 5-minute warm up, and about a minute and a half or so remaining in that warm up, and then we'll see exactly what happens. But we have an inkling as to
we've
what's
seen this before.
Happen.
No big deal. They'll read it off. What we are sure is it's going to be Greg Mack and Brennan Horn. David Payton and Greg Mack going to be starting on the front row. Brennan Horn, Chris Thorman will be on row 2. So that'll be interesting. But what it also does, it puts then the battle of Hartley, Allen, and Dam pretty close together. And then following them would be Jacobs, Mike Taylor, Ram, round 1 winner, and Nate Nicholson, who had that incident earlier with Schwenke. He's only going to be starting a row or 2 behind the race 1 winner. So watch for Nicholson to stick with that group as they make their way through the pack. This could be fun for Nicholson. We saw how aggressive he was in the first round. He could do it again.
Yeah, indeed he could. And, again, he's just going to have to balance that aggression with, maybe a little bit of patience there. Now, it looks like, Larry, coming out of that last race, and we had heard some admonishment from the race stewards asking our drivers to be a little bit more conscientious on track, and just saw here towards the end that it looks like Travis Schwenke was, and this may impact things. I don't know if it's going to impact anything for the start of our second race tonight, but Travis Schwenke was assigned a 10-second post-race penalty. And if we take a look there, of course, it's not going to hurt. I guess it's not going to hurt his starting position because, he finished second to last because he was 8 laps down.
Yeah, that's an insult to injury sort of penalty, but they do have to do it. It is the right call. He did not have clearance on Nicholson when he moved left there coming off the exit of 1. And that's part of what you have to be aware of is if you keep your spotter turned on, they usually give you a pretty good indication when you're clear. If you don't hear it, you're not.
That's right. Looks like David Payne was involved in an incident as well. He was given a 20-second post-race penalty. And that was between Payne and the 95 machine of Russ Ruddick. So looks like there was some contact there and a pretty hefty penalty. Oh, and have just gotten word, Larry, that this is a quick grid here, as we can see where the drivers are on track currently. So let's go and we'll quickly run down the starting order here as we're going to be getting underway in just a moment.
It should be all right. I think they've got the full lap in front of them. They are on the main straight. I think that in the sim, they're only given like a 50 seconds as opposed to 2 minutes that a first race would be. So gotcha. I think it's just the stewards trying to get everybody into their cars quickly so then we can start this regridding as we're inverting the top 7, not the top 23. So time for a little bit of manual reordering.
Yep, here we go. So if we take a look here, your pole sitter tonight is going to be David Payton from D2DE Racing, Greg Mack from Team Esports Racer. He's going to start on the outside of row number 1. Then we've got Brennan Horn and Chris Thorman, the 45 machine, and the number 60 machine. That'll be row number 2. Then we've got Robert Hartley starting in 5th position with John Allen starting right next to him in 6th. Then we've got Mike Dam. He is going to start 7th, and then as you mentioned, then we've got Jeff Jacobs. Then we've got let's see here. Gosh, all of a sudden
I can get it
now.
from here if you want.
Yeah,
All right, so, no problem.
Actually, you know what? I'm looking at. I was looking at
I've got it here.
time here. All right,
On row 5, so follow me, Jeff Jacobs, there at row 4. On row 5 is going to be our round 1 winner tonight, Mike Taylor, lined up alongside Nate Nicholson. So that'll be interesting as Nate will be making his way through the pack again. See how aggressive he can be on this second race. Row 6 is going to be David Payne and Nick Parsono. On row 7 is going to be Greg Brockway and John Casey. Row 8 will include Eric Kleiser and Edgar Centinelli. Row 9, Michael Key and Paul Carey. Row 10 is going to be Patrick Preventis and Steve Daniel. Daniel, of course, got wiped out in the first race. We'll see how far he can make it in this one. On row 11, Robert Brist and Travis Schwenke, who was awarded a 10-second penalty, and that didn't change his position. And finally, on row 12, by himself, Russ Ruddick. See where Russ can end up here as we get started in just a moment here with round 2 or round 8, I guess this is, of the season.
As we watch grass grow, as we watch all of our drivers get the grid together, and all the while, Larry, that Porsche 911 pace car, he's just doing laps all by himself.
At some point, he'll pull in, and you watch. The sim will give them a green, but as we know already, these guys go in a manual green from the race steward, so that's already set up correctly. And there's some other admin stuff they'll have to do, but I think they're getting this thing sorted out.
Yeah, and I think we had gone through this once before over at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. So here you can see our our starting row there of Peyton and Mac as they're starting to move away a little bit as we still have the rest of the field here trying to get everything in order.
Yep, there they start to roll. Looks like pretty much in the correct order as far as I can see. There's your round 1 winner there, Mike Dam. Just making his way through. And again, he should be starting this race in 7th on row 4 alongside Jeff Jacobs. So get those guys a chance to get sorted out. But to me, the one to watch again is going to be Nate Nicholson. He was very aggressive and had some bad luck there in the first race. He had a couple of offs, was able to recover, but the contact that finally ended his race, or at least ended the competitive run of his race, set him back. But now starting essentially right behind your round 1 winner, Mike Dam, is going to give Nate an opportunity to maybe pull his way through this pack. This should be fun. We've seen some aggressiveness tonight. My own personal leagues that I run in every Tuesday, we do inverted grid stuff, and the thing that our race steward always says is patience. The patience is not the name for your gas pedal. It needs to be executed here, because a little bit of patience goes a long way to a successful 30-minute sprint with an inverted start.
All right, as we've got our pole sitter, David Payton, bringing the field onto the Andretti straight. And everybody's starting to get gridded up here. Now, this is a great place, I think, for Chris Thorman to be in that number 60 machine, starting on the second row, as we saw some aggression from Chris that we maybe haven't seen the majority of the season. Now, Chris is sitting back currently 6th in the championship, actually tied for 5th in the championship coming into tonight with Mike Dam. Obviously, that changes now with the results that we had in our first round, but some aggression from him we haven't necessarily seen before. We'll see, as he has both Peyton and Mac sitting ahead of him on track. This might be a good time for him to show his mettle. And so
I'm also noticing as they do this regrid, it's apparently not a perfect situation, as Nate Nicholson should be starting this race in 10th, gridded on the same side right behind Jeff Jacobs. But if you take a look, he's actually in front of Jacobs.
Yes,
so Nicholson starting this in 8th. This is even better for him. He's got his buddy John Allen right in front of him. Watch for those guys now to be the aggressive pair to work their way through this field. This could be fun. Perhaps it was Jacobs just being gentlemanly, or maybe just a bit of a mix-up there in this 23-car regrid, but expect the green flag to come momentarily here for the 8th round of the season.
All right, so we had a very early green flag on our first race, and once again, green flag is in the air as David Payton and Brendan Horn lead the field out of the final quarter, out of turn 10 and turn 10 into the first turn, and Payton has the lead. Horn slots in the second. Then we've got Mack, Thorman, and Hartley. John Allen and Nate Nicholson gets around Mike Dam. early on as he's just tied to the rear of John Allen as they come down through turn number 2. And Larry, I think that start got everybody by surprise, as it looks like David Payton and Brendan Horn came out of the final corner at about 10 miles an hour.
It did a little bit, especially the middle couple of rows on the left column got a little bit slow, and actually it might have helped both Allen and Nicholson as they just pushed their way through that side, went right up the middle there, and was able to make up a couple of spots. So watching these guys now, that was a great start for them, now sitting 6th and 7th, but a good start at the front as well for David Payton now. Leading the way out of the Moss hairpin, Brennan Horan, they're right on his 6th. Those teammates going to try and push each other along to hold off at Greg Mack and see how long they can hold off at Hartley, Allen, Nicholson, and Dam train. That to me seems inevitable that it's going to get there. It's just a matter of when.
And I was just going to say, let's not forget that they've got their teammate Thorman sitting back in 3rd, but sitting back in 4th, but it may not go for very long as Hartley's coming up alongside Thorman. Greg Mack, who is our fastest driver during the week in practice, tries to slot underneath Brendan Horn, cannot get that done, and I'm wondering how long Brendan Horn.
There's contact at the round goal. This is going to be a big one.
Oh, and there we go, going through Hartley into
Hartley.
The wall. Hartley is off along with that was the number 60 machine. I was saying how aggressive and how strong can the 60 machine be in the opening laps. Well, there you go. He's in the wall, now out of the wall, and both. He is now sitting back in 19th position. We'll have to see if Hartley can get back underway. At the moment here, we're on board with Mike Dam, who is now sitting in 5th position. And he's got Mike Taylor, our AMP category winner from round number 7, right behind him with Jeff Jacobs and Parsino very closely behind, but a big gap now from Nate Nicholson back to Mike Dam.
That had a whole ripple effect on a couple of things here. Obviously, it put a big gap from the top 3 to Nicholson. Nicholson's going to be working hard to catch them, but he's got no one behind him because Mike Dam was another 2.5 seconds behind him because of what was going on with Thorman and with Hartley. But heartbreaking for Hartley, who needed another strong finish. He needed strong points, and that's probably not how it's going to happen. But I also don't see a John Allen in there anywhere, as he seems to have fallen down the order all the way to 11th on the overall running rank. That's going to hurt him because, you know, he was also hoping to get a good solid finish here, but Hartley needs it more than Allen.
All right, let's take a look, Larry. I think we've got queued up exactly what happened coming onto the front straight here to complete lap number 1. And we see as we've got the 60 machine there coming out of the
all by
corner.
Himself.
Yeah, just caught, and it looks like John Allen is trying to avoid the mess as the cars are coming across the front straight. Just let out the throttle. Yeah, and
that's the smart move. Great way to avoid the contact there for John Allen. Did hurt his track position, but didn't end his night. Hartley, though, just completely, had nowhere to go with the spinning Thorman in front of him. I tell you, if your car's set up a little bit loose, especially on the opening laps, that last corner, you do have to chuck it in. You want the thing to transfer the weight early so you can get on the gas early, and unfortunately, he did both just a skosh too early, and round he went. And for him, he's still running, but that took himself out for Thorman, as well as it took out Hartley there behind him. Hartley sitting back in 22nd, I suspect, with a slightly damaged car after the contact with Thorman.
All right, Larry, we have a new leader. That's Brendan Horn. He's gotten around his teammate, David Payton, to move Payton back to 2nd. Nate Nicholson, our fastest driver on that previous lap, and looks like that gap up between he and our top 3 drivers starting to contract just a little bit, as we've now got almost a full second between Nicholson and Dam back in the number 93 machine. And I'll tell you, Dam might be the biggest winner here in that incident between Hartley and the number 60 machine, as Dam was our winner in race number 1 here tonight. Came into the evening 1 point back from Travis Schwenke, 5th in the championship, but this could be a very big points haul for him, at least in comparison to I was going to say in comparison to John Allen, but Allen's not all that far back. You can see him coming on the front straight.
I'll tell you, the way the points are going to work out is anything less than a 4th needs to be a drop when you're talking about 9 events across the season. You can't afford to be carrying 4th place points if you want to win a championship. And that's where John Allen's at now, right? With all his points coming in, he's sitting on a bunch of 1st and 2nds. Hartley, as we mentioned, was sitting on a bunch of a win, but a couple of 2nds and 3rds. Dam didn't have any good finishes. If he walks away somehow miraculously with 2 wins tonight, that actually could project him right up near the front of this, but he's got a lot of work to do. He's 2 seconds behind Nate Nicholson. Nicholson's doing everything he can to get to the front 4 here and to stick with, I should say, the front 3 and to try and win this race. But unless he slows down that front 4, more likely he's going to continue to just pull that gap on Dam. Dam's not going to have a chance to get a top 4 finish, and John Allen still struggling here in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, as John Allen goes wide coming through the Moss hairpin, drops a wheel, does not lose a position there.
Looks like Hartley has decided to retire to the pits. The car probably not running good. His last lap was a 42 was his in lap. He doesn't even have a good lap. So unfortunately for Hartley, that looks like his race, his night is over.
All right, the 2 D2D drivers at the front of the field swap positions once again to move Peyton back into the lead. And you can see there, after running 2 fast laps in a row, Nate Nicholson, who was almost 0.3 of a second faster than the top 3 drivers, now right on the rear bumper of Greg Mack as they come down through turn 1 as we start lap number 5 here.
Well, man, Mike Dam just took about 0.3 out of the daylight there between he and Nate Nicholson. So plenty of time to do this for Mike Dam. And the way these front 4 are going to start shuffling, I don't know they're going to be all that efficient. Yes, you've got 2 teammates in that are going to help some of that, but then you got 2 other guys that are out there fighting for themselves. That's going to ultimately slow that, force them down. And I suspect that Mike Dam's going to make this a 5-car train in not too long of a time. Behind him, Schwenke, and then, of course, our AM leader, Taylor, doing a great job again in the second race tonight like he did in the first. But look at this, 2 wide, almost a 3 wide coming down to Moss as Nicholson wants to get inside of the 64 of Peyton. He's going to get there at the expense of exit speed and contact even as they exit.
As both he and David Peyton still rubbing fenders as they came out of Moss, and Peyton now keeps that 3rd position. Nate Nicholson back and forth, and with all that fighting and every time, Nicholson had that great run for 2 laps, but he ran into a brick wall of Horn, Mack, and Peyton.
And then fighting.
Yeah, exactly. And there is Mike Dam, who doesn't have that disadvantage, at least for now, and I think he's going to find himself, in that same position as Nate Nicholson did just a lap ago.
It was almost 3 seconds between Dam in 5th to Nicholson in 4th. It's now less than a second. Mike Dam is totally in draft zone. We've got a 5-car train, and of those 5, we have the most aggressive car in the field, and we've got a round 1 tonight winner in this field to mix it up with the 2 teammates from D2D, as that's the 78 of Casey spinning, it looks like, in turn 9.
Yes, Casey goes around in the final corners coming out of turn 9 and brings it through 10 onto the front straight. He is currently sitting 9th in AM, 19th overall.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Very unfortunate for him as we now see Patrick Ravenis, who also already had an issue here on track, as well as Robert Barist trying to get by as we jump back now to the battle for the lead. And again, 2 by 2 as they come down the hill here and then rise back up as they head towards the Moss hairpin. Greg Mack jumping underneath of Brennan Horn, but just gets a little bit too late on the brakes. He's going to give up now to Nate Nicholson. And Nicholson, who was in 4th position just a lap ago, this is probably the best thing that could have happened to him, because he's got now just Brennan Horn ahead of him.
He made some beautiful moves around 3 to get by Peyton, and then, of course, Mack, trying to be aggressive on Horn, left himself wide open for Nicholson to duck underneath. Nicholson now trying to make one more move to take the lead of this race, but you'll notice that Mike Dam is right at the tail of this, and he's got 64 David Peyton right in his sights. Dam, I suspect, is going to start picking these guys off, and this could be a lot of fun. And we're only 10 minutes into this 30-minute race. These front 5 are going to be battling just like we saw the front 7 do in the first round.
Yeah, I suspect that Mike Dam was taking notes there as he saw exactly what Nate Nicholson did getting around him. And, you could just sit there and maybe wait for the mistakes. We know Brennan Horn has a tendency to use every inch of the track and sometimes quite a bit more. And it definitely hurts him from time to time. And we've already seen both Mack and Peyton have small little issues here in the first 6 laps. So we'll check in.
The other thing I'm keeping my eyes on as it progresses here as we ride on board with Nick Parsono, currently second in the M category, trying to get up to Mike Taylor, who's a couple seconds up the road. But there is Nicholson leading this race now. And who would have thought that, considering he started this thing in 10th as they go into the Moss hairpin. But if they slow down, these front 5 start to battle, it's only 2 seconds to Schwenke, another second to Allen. The front 7 could be a train again. We could be putting the band back together before too long. This is crazy.
It's not exactly the Beatles here, my friend, but
it's more like Chicago, you know, all those shuffling players. You never know who's in. You know, it could be the Michael McDonald years, the Peter Cetera years. You just never know.
Wait, Michael McDonald? Never mind. You're thinking of the Doobie Brothers, but maybe you're smoking something. I don't know.
I'm just saying.
All right, and Nicholson getting very loose, coming through the S's, going through that left-hander at turn 9, but he is going to lead the field coming onto the front straight. So it is Nicholson, it's Horn, it's Greg Mack, Payton, and Mike Dam still just kind of sitting back there. He hasn't really, you know, you could just see the difference in approach from Mike Dam. I think he's waiting for things to fall apart in front of him rather than pushing the issue like Nate Nicholson did. But now we'll get to see the difference between what Nate Nicholson, who basically gave up as many positions as he made, I think, in the last race. We'll see what he can do from the lead when maybe there isn't as much pressure on him here as he's starting to open up a little bit of a gap on the number 45 machine. We'll see if that gap again disappears under the draft. On the back straight, on the Andretti straight here, so there's only about a 0.3 of a second gap.
He's got some great raw pace, but yeah, that draft is just hard to break. What typically breaks it is bad moves behind you.
Yeah.
But right now, Horan is doing what he can to stay there. Greg Mack hasn't popped out yet, but there is Mike Dam, your round 1 winner tonight. Right now, about to pounce on David Payton, but there they are. Look at Travis Schwenke, John Allen, just a second back, 2 seconds, I guess, behind.
And Larry on that last, and on that last lap, they were almost a half second faster than Mike Dam, and they're a full second faster than the 3 cars or the 4 cars ahead of Mike Dam. As we're now, look at this.
Every time this happens, it slows them down and brings Schwenke and Allen that much closer. Oh, I can't wait for this. Look at this. They're gaining a 10th or 2 per corner, are Schwenke and Allen on this front 5.
And here you go, and you can see, wow, as Schwenke goes very wide coming out of the final corner, trying to carry as much speed. And, you know, I'll tell you, you look a little bit further back as we have Schwenke there and John Allen now only, about 1.9 seconds back from Mike Dam. And frankly, Jeff Jacobs and Mike Taylor, Jacobs running 8th in Pro, Taylor, our current AM category leader, they're not that much further back. I mean, they're showing us about 3 seconds, but they're also carrying more speed than the top 5 drivers.
What matters right here is that those last 2 of those front 3, that is the 66 of Taylor and the 79 of Parsono. They are 1-2 in the AM category right now in this race, and don't count out David Payne. He's just a couple spots back. There he is entering the shop. So we have a race in our hands. Remember, in the first round tonight, Taylor basically walked away from it. There was actions that went on behind him. We had seen Russ Ruddock get taken out and all that, and it just sort of cleaned things out. And he had kind of a boring race when it comes to class competition. Not so much tonight here, as Nick Parsono is going to try and push Mike Taylor for all he can. And speaking of pushing, now it's Mike Dam's turn to push to see if he can make a move on David Payton, or can he just slow everybody down and let Travis Schwenke catch up?
And Dam, I think now is to the point where he's tired of waiting. He poked to the inside for a moment there on David Payton, but then as soon as he pulled out of the draft, ends up losing about 20 feet, and he's going to have to follow this train through the S's and onto the front straight yet again. And here we go once again with Schwenke and Allen in the low 33s. As a matter of fact, John Allen down into almost a 33 flat. He runs a 32.98. They were almost 9/10 of a second faster than Mike Dam. So they're going to be there very, very soon. And Dam, you know, I don't know, he seemed kind of content to sit back there in fifth. I don't know.
He's trying little moves, little micro moves. He's sort of just getting to the left up, getting to the right up. But I'll tell you, David Payton's done a really good job of making that little MX-5 very, very wide tonight. And he's also, of course, he has draft in front of him. He's got Greg Mack that he can latch onto. And Nate Nicholson's running a pretty good pace out front, whereas when Nicholson was coming up, no offense to Horn and Mack and those guys, but they weren't running this mid-33 pace.
Yeah. It was like Nicholson hit a brick wall as they came up there.
But yeah, that brick wall now is a moving target for Mike Dam, and all he knows is he's got that teammate Schwenke going, oh great, these guys, and John Allen, that Allen guy making his way up there as well. Now Dam's going to see if he can get a bit of a run up into the S's and maybe finally make a move, but Payton did a great job of holding his inside.
And Horn now trying to make a move on our leader, Nate Nicholson.
Oh, and that's going to end poorly for Horn.
It is, as he's going to go for a wild ride through the grass, and you know, I think I've seen that move before, and it was Nate Nicholson exactly that did it in the previous race. So that's going to move Brendan Horn now back from second all the way back to seventh position. That number 45 machine, and next man up, it's Greg Mack. And you know, I was wondering if maybe Mike Dam was waiting for reinforcements from Travis Schwenke, but I'm sure Dam knew
catching
that
a little bit of that. Yeah, Greg Mack let a little bit of that curbing and the grass on the other side of it there, coming off of one as he snapped back across track, able to hold on to it. Leaves a little bit of daylight now to Nicholson, about 6/10 up. But take a look at this. We have got ourselves a full 7-car train from Nicholson all the way to Brendan Horn, now back at the tail end of it. He is our caboose.
And Nicholson just hasn't been able to break free of this group. You know, he's got now about 0.4 of a second or so on Greg Mack, and I guess we'll have to see here as we've got Mack and we've got Payton and Dam whether or not the battle starts right back behind Nicholson, because you may see if Mike Dam starts to move to the or driver's left here, you may start to see Greg Mack look to defend against that move as well. Of course, if he does, all he's going to end up doing is probably pulling Mike Dam along as well.
Oh, look at this. Mack tries to go to the outside to block. Payton's able to duck to the inside. This is going to be interesting because they'll be side by side through 9, but it'll be Mack now on the inside of 9. But look at the momentum for Payton, able to go around the outside to take that spot.
And there we go. Oh, and Greg Mack goes around and he's got the tire wall. Greg Mack's night is now done. As you saw there, he came right up onto the rear bumper as Payton came across him going into the final corner, and Mike Dam let out of the throttle just a little bit, and that was enough to send it around, and his day is now done.
Wow. So, now go ahead. That's unfortunate for Greg Mack to just lose it right there in the middle of a pretty good battle, but next man up is Payton, and then Mike Dam has got his way up to third now. Could he possibly win both rounds tonight?
You know, there's a possibility there, but you also notice that Dam has not had to make a move on a pass on track. That, you know, I would say, you know, he just sits back there and waits for the people ahead of him to make mistakes, and so far 2 drivers have. You know, I think as long as Schwenke can run cover against John Allen, this is, you know, maybe a good thing for Mike Dam here, because as soon as Payton goes to make a move on Nicholson, and it looks like it might be coming up rather soon, Larry, as they came out, I think he might pop to the inside here, and not yet, but he made a very late move before. Well, maybe Mike Dam is going to make the move as Dam now comes alongside David Payton coming into the S's. It's been very tough out there, very loose to the outside, but Dam, as he sticks the car back down to the apex, he's got Schwenke for coverage there right behind him, and as they come onto the front straight, is there contact there? No, looks like the number 64 machine able to get just clear of our new third place runner. That's Schwenke.
But yeah, Schwenke was able to take the move when Mike Dam ran a little bit wide there trying to make the move. Schwenke does, and John Allen says, well, thank you very much. And he tries to duck underneath, so now he's going to go side by side through 2 with Mike Dam. This is getting a little sketchy here. Look at these guys.
And that obviously opens things up for Nicholson right now, as John Allen, can he get that move done as they come through turn 3 now?
He does.
And there you go. So
at least for the moment.
I was gonna say for just a moment there. New 4th place runner is John Allen from Seamless Racing. Moved Mike Dam back into 5th, and so you saw there as soon as Mike Dam actually tried to make a move, well, I guess everybody who makes a run up to 3rd finds themselves off track or something.
Yeah, it's sort of like being Spinal Tap's drummer. It's not the position you want to be in the band. You
Yes.
don't want to be 3rd in this thing. You just might spontaneously combust. But he's back there now in 5th. Not out of this yet. As again, we're only at the 20-minute mark in 3, 2, 1. Now we're at 20 minutes, and so we've got plenty of time left. As these guys again continue to go side by side. This time it's going to be Schwenke around the outside. Can he do what no others seem to be able to?
Well, Schwenke, obviously, he's seen what's going on with every person running in 3rd place. He doesn't want to stay back there much longer. And he pulled up alongside the 64 machine for a moment as they headed in under braking into the S's, or slight braking into the S's. Was not able to get around, but he is now alongside the 64 as the 64 jumps down to the inside. As we see the 16 try to open up that corner as much as possible. Mike Dam running very wide through the dirt there on the exit of 1, but manages to keep the momentum up. He is still sitting back in 5th position right behind John Allen.
Yeah, Dam was just sort of following Allen. Allen, for a moment, had a pretty good run on Schwenke. Schwenke closed that door very fast as they came around through turn 1. So there's a lot of jockeying going on back there. No one able to make the pass stick, but that's how hard it is around this place, especially in a big old draft train like this. But Nicholson has been the constant. Once he got there about 10 minutes ago, he has not given up, and that's the 60 of Chris Thorman.
Thorman.
Yeah.
As Thorman goes off track, and so it looks like his night is now done. He's going to join Greg Mack and Robert Hartley on the pit lane, and that is how their evening is going to end at Mosport as we jump back over to our battle for the lead. And now moving to the inside is the 64 machine of David Payton.
Watch Schwenke, though. Look at Schwenke try to now push Allen up the inside to keep Payton out there. Payton may get a 2-for-1 if he sets his mind on this just right. Look at him.
And now coming down the inside, Travis Schwenke trying to get around the 64 as they come into the final corner. Cannot get quite close enough, but look at the run that Dam gets out of the final corner as he's now got some overlap on the 101 machine, and they head down into turn 1, and that's going to put him on the outside going down through turn number 2.
We've seen this before. Just a lap or so ago, they went side by side through 2. Oh, so close to contact between them, but nope, it's all fair. They're good. Right back line to stern between Allen and Dam back there in 4th and 5th. It's just fun to watch those two. They are so trusting with each other to be able to do things like that and stay side by side for that much time.
Wow, and you see there is Schwenke is as they were coming out of 3 and head up the hill through 4. Schwenke got a little bit loose, dropped a little bit further back from the 64.
Yeah, much of this accordion between these guys. As Schwenke taps the brakes, Allen had to check up a little bit. Mike Dam checked up, and hey, look, it's Brennan Horan's back. Hey, Brennan, nice of you to join the crowd here. This is good. He's back in the band. Maybe we'll call this one Steely Dan, as everyone's all back together again.
Oh my God.
That was a Michael McDonald band.
No, that was not a Michael McDonald.
He was. I just looked it up. He was in that one. That, as well as the Doobie Brothers and his tremendous solo work. We're not here to talk about Michael McDonald.
That's right. But look at this now. Coming down into the S's, Nate Nicholson gives up the lead to David Payton. So the 64 machine, for the moment, is your new leader.
Oh, and contact out in front.
Multiple times as they come down through turn 9, and that's going to scrub a lot of speed off of the 23 machine. As they come onto the front straight, it is David Payton, then Schwenke, then Dam, and Brennan Horn now battling with John Allen. John Allen trying to be, as your championship leader, trying to be somewhat cautious there and keep that car on track. And now he's got all this battling going on and all this contact right ahead of him, and he's now right behind, maybe right behind the 23 of Nicholson.
More contact between Payton and Schwenke now in front as they go side by side through 3. Nicholson with the recovery of the century here. We thought maybe a moment ago he's going to be smacking the walls. He's now fighting for the lead, back up to 2nd spot just on the outside now as they go around through 4. I can't believe this, that Nicholson is still in this after all the contact. I thought he was going to be done, and he wants it before they even get to the Andretti straight as he makes a double wide through Moss.
And of course, that's going to kill his exit speed. And somehow David Payton on the outside managed to keep that car rolling. He now comes right across the nose of Travis Schwenke, down pinned to the inside, as we know, Mike Dam trying to push the 23 machine up alongside his teammate Schwenke here. And for the moment, Schwenke's got a nose up on Payton as they come down into the S's. And Nicholson, there you go. There's the repeat of earlier. And
he might have reached the wall this time. That was a pretty hasty exit.
Yeah, that was a long run through the
he's
grass.
Still there.
Yeah, he kept it in the grass. He's still on track. So Nate Nicholson falls back into 6th position after having led.
There, that's gonna hurt. That is Schwenke? No, that is Dam.
That is Mike Dam in the 93 machine. He gets into that. Let's see who else. That was going off track. That was David Payton, who went off track along with him. So now Payton in the 64 machine, his night is now done. Schwenke in the number 16 machine, he's your new leader. Brendan Horn running a distant second, and I think we've got the replay here. Let's see exactly what happened.
Yeah, as we'll go split screen with this replay, and here they are side by side, coming down those short straights, and I don't know that Payton ever saw him there, didn't think he was going to be there. He just inched to the outside. I think he was looking at pressure coming up from behind him, and unfortunately, that is going to end both of their nights for Dam and for Payton.
Yeah, and so Nicholson, who I think got a little bit of Mike Dam coming across the track on that last lap, didn't seem to hurt. The 23 car seems like built of iron or something tonight, and he is now right up on the back bumper of the 101 machine, and they've got Brendan Horn to contend with, but Travis Schwenke now sitting all alone as we've got now just 3.5 minutes remaining here at Mosport. And wow, look at that. Look at that drift from John Allen going through turn 9.
Unbelievable. This thing is shaking out. And for John Allen, comes in as the championship leader, gets a second, and protects the points over Hartley in the first round. We thought when he checked up on the brakes when the incident happened coming off a 10 early in this race that he was going to be out of it. Stays steady, follows Schwenke carefully. They catch the pack, and now Schwenke out in front. John Allen sitting in third, one spot from getting another second place finish. This has just been an unbelievable night for Allen. A lot of skill and a little bit of luck always goes a long way. And sometimes you got to manufacture your own luck. And I think tonight, by keeping the car clean, he's managed to do that. Now, if he wants to win this race, and I'm sure everybody does, he's got 2 cars to pass in what's probably going to be 2 laps after this, maybe. I assume that we won't see white flag as we still 2.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, I think we're going to have probably at least 1 more lap before we get the white flag.
So for Horan and Allen now, I think John Allen may start pushing Brennan more than going around him because they want to catch Travis. They know that time is running out. You can't let him get away, and a side-by-side slows you down. And John Allen, we've seen him help people before. So if he can get up there, he might just give a nudge to the bumper, but maybe not this time.
Yeah,
may not need to.
I'd be more concerned. Well, Horn goes, and we've already seen Horn go off here once so far this evening. I think as long as John Allen has an agreement in place with Nate Nicholson, and maybe Nicholson can stay behind and not take any points away from the 101 machine, and all of a sudden, for the first time tonight, Nate Nicholson doesn't look to be nearly as aggressive. Surprise, surprise, surprise.
It may be, but honestly, I think what Allen, because he's in the championship lead and his rivals are both gone at this point, his nearest rival, I believe, might be Travis Schwenke.
Schwenke came into the evening in 4th, yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty far down for everyone else. So Allen's going to get himself a good result regardless, and frankly, with the drops, a 3rd place is just fine if he could hold form to where he is now. Yeah. But with a lap and a half to go, he still is not out of this to try and win this race. He just needs to make the move on Brendan Horn and then have a shot, but he can't make that move cost him any time, and that's going to be the critical to these moves. Look at him already setting up for an exit off of the hairpin. Doesn't want to be too close when they get on it. Now he gets a good clean exit. That's smart driving.
And Schwenke, for the 2nd time this lap, makes a pretty drastic bobble. He had a big slide coming through turn 3, and we saw him take to the grass there on the exit of Moss, probably cut his exit speed, and you can see
look
here.
At this. Look at the run for Horan and Allen on Schwenke.
And here we go as they rise up the hill heading towards turn 8. I don't think they're going to be quite close enough, though, Larry, as they come into the S's here for the second to last time. Brendan Horan grabbing a bit of grass there, and John Allen didn't have anywhere to go. He did have to check up as they come onto the front straight. White flag is in the air. Last lap here coming up at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. There you go. You can see the white flag waving barely underneath the bridge there as they head down the hill here. Again, Travis Schwenke, your leader. Brendan Horan second. John Allen third. And then Nate Nicholson now a little bit further back, and we haven't talked about this all that much. In your AM category, Mike Taylor currently with a 3-second advantage over Steve Daniel, so he's got that pretty well and cleared here with his last lap just starting. Paul Carey running in second. The AM category pretty well stretched out.
Yeah, Steve Daniel, good recovery here, considering he had that big unfortunate moment of getting taken out of the first race, so he's able to recover, possibly to pick up some very critical points in this championship, considering that Mike Taylor might be able to pick up 2 wins in AM. Steve Daniel getting a second in one of those 2 is going to be pretty important. But here we go. Last time down the Andretti straight for the front 4. Who is going to be the one who gets the best run? Look at the snake weave back and forth in the straight as Schwenke wants to break draft.
And Schwenke had about 3.5 car lengths coming out of Moss. That disappears. And we've got Brendan Horan now about a half a car length back. He moves to driver's left. John Allen's going to try and follow as Horan now side by side with the 16. And John Allen looking, it seems more like he's trying to look just where he can avoid contact and stay where he is more than anything else. As Travis Schwenke, he holds off the number 45 through the final corner. John Allen breaks to the inside, but Travis Schwenke, he's going to take the win. Brendan Horan's going to come home second here in round number 8. John Allen, he will finish third. Nate Nicholson, he'll come home in fourth. And we'll see here as our final drivers coming across the line. Edgar Sanchinelli, number of seconds back. There he goes, and coming across the line. And
there's Mike.
There you go. As Sanchinelli finishes 5th, Jacobs 6th. That's in pro. Mike Taylor comes across the line in the number 66 Frito Sport machine. Well, you see, maybe we will get to talk to Mike tonight after all. And Mike taking his 2nd win here this evening, takes the win in AM. Steve Daniel will come home in 2nd. Paul Carey in the 141 machine. Good run for Paul tonight. He comes home in 3rd. Nick Parsono finishes just off the podium, and AM David Payne finishes in 5th.
Mike Taylor doing everything he can to make sure that the commentator's curse goes a long way and avoids the commentators and takes 2 wins in class. I'm going to ask him about that.
Oh, my. All right, let's do this, Larry. Let's take another quick break. We'll thank some of our great sponsors. And when we come back, we'll talk to some of our podium finishers here from Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. You have just seen round 7 and 8 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Performance Texas Elite Graphics. We'll be right back.
Allow Extreme Scoring to do the work for you.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here. with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
And we're back here at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. I'll say it again, Mosport, for rounds numbers 7 and 8 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Performa Texas Elite Graphics. I'm Greg Ginsburg along with Larry Lefty McLeod, and let's take a look at that finishing order once again in race number 2 this evening, round number 8. Travis Schwenke came from the back of the field, all the way from the back of that 22-23 car field after having wrecked out in race number 1, and takes the win this evening. Brendan Horan from D2D comes home in second. John Allen, our championship leader coming into the evening in pro, he comes home in third. And over in our AM category, Mike Taylor from Frito Sport, he takes his second win of the night. Steve Daniel comes home second. Paul Carey from Carey Racing comes home in third. And Larry, I think we've got a lot of drivers lined up, a lot of folks that want to speak to us. Let's do this. Why don't we start off with Steve Daniel from SDK Racing, finishing second tonight here in our second race.
All right, so Steve Daniel has joined us. Steve, a interesting way the first race went for you, but it set up one heck of a performance for you. Let's focus on that second race and that podium finish there. Working your way through the field, never easy around this place. What was it from your standpoint?
Yeah, you always think you're going to have more passing opportunities, and it's definitely a tough track to get by people, and so you got to look for some mistakes, and unfortunately it got me in the first race, but was able to make up some places in the second one.
Yeah, what was it there, I guess, about the second race? We had a lot of incidents, a lot of people getting themselves taken out, and staying clean is important, but you managed to make your way through some traffic. You started that race back there in the second to last row, I think, but to make your way up to the second spot in the field, is it just... would you latch on to somebody, make your way through? Where was your favorite spots to pass? I mean, how'd you manage that through?
Yeah, that one was just head down and keep going as clean a lines as I could. Got some good passes down the back straight there, a few into the S's, but also, like I said, was a little bit fortunate. Had some people spin out ahead of me, which always helps.
Yeah, quite a bit of a lot of spinning going on, but you managed to get your way up there and get some very critical points because you're in that points battle going into the final round in a couple of weeks. Was that on your mind at all? That hey, you need to score points in these rounds tonight?
Yeah, definitely in the back of my head. After the first race, that kind of was defeating, so the second one, brings a little bit of life back into it.
Yeah, so it's going to set up a pretty exciting finish in a couple of weeks. We'll go through the whole point standing soon. You'll be able to find them as well. But tonight, Steve, able to grab that second place in the second race tonight. Congrats. Anybody you want to give a special thanks to?
As always, just the league admins, you guys, everybody that supports this league.
Well, awesome. Thank you. And Steve, congrats again on the second place in our second round tonight.
Thanks.
All right, there you go, Steve Daniel. Let's bring in now... I think this is as good a time as any since we couldn't talk to him pre-race from Frito Sport Racing, driving the number 66 machine, taking wins both in round 7 and round 8 tonight, Mike Taylor.
Yeah, Mike, you came into tonight third in the M category points with the leader taking the night off. Great opportunity if you can execute to pick up wins, and you managed to do it twice. And you avoided talking to us pre-race. Maybe you were just focusing, but tell me a little bit about how your races went. It looked great from what we saw.
Oh yeah, they went great for me. I mean, there were guys, behind me. I latched on to Jeff Jacobs in the first race, and he managed to pull me away from guys that were close by, and then they had some incidents and stuff. So that one wasn't too hard. And then this last one, Steve Daniel was catching me, and I had Edgar and Jeff Jacobs in front of me that were dicing for their position, and actually kind of holding me up as I was trying to get away to keep away from Steve. So that was a little drama at the end of that one, but I got a good start in both races and had good grid positions, so worked out real well this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And, not to be understated, but when you avoid the pre-race interview, good things happen. But I shouldn't let that really, I shouldn't really let that get out there, because tonight you managed to pull off the 2 wins at the end. And I'm trying to hit refresh as fast as I can these points, but Kevin Ford's apparently not getting to those yet. But I suspect good things are going to come to you, and it's going to be a fun last round in a couple of weeks for you. But tonight, let's focus on that 2 wins, round 1 and round 2, or I should say round 7s and round 8 for you, Mike. And who do you want to give a thanks to for tonight's performance?
Well, obviously, big thanks to Kevin and Jeff for running the show here, and for our sponsors, Ricmotech and Chris Thorman at Proforma Elite Texas Graphics. So, and Edgar and my teammates on Frito Sport for helping with setups and strategy and stuff like that. So,
yeah, it's always great to have a good team along with you there, supporting you and helping you guys out. And tonight, that team's going to get a well-earned Frito Sport wins in rounds 1 and 2 in the M category. So, Mike, congrats on that, and I can't wait to see how this is going to wind up in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, me too.
All right, there you go. Mike Taylor from Frito Sport Racing. Great run for him this evening, and there you go. He skips out on the pre-race interview and takes home 2 wins. All right, let's tell you what.
Don't tell everybody. We'll stop getting pre-race interviews.
I know. We're done. I keep forgetting. Hey, that's another Michael McDonald song. Anyway, let's take a look now. Let's see. We've got Brennan Horn. We've got Nate Nicholson. We've got Travis Schwenke. I think we should talk to Nate Nicholson after tonight's outing.
Sure.
I think he made up the most positions out of everybody, like 3 times over. From Delta Sport, number 23 driver Nathan Nicholson.
Nate, I will say tonight you might win the award for the most exciting in both rounds. That first race, you must have passed 30 cars and gave up 25 spots before finally getting knocked down the order there. But that aggressiveness seems to pay off. You really seem to have a rhythm here tonight, even getting offs and back-ons. What is it about this track and the way you tend to fight here?
I'm going to be honest, I have not driven this track a lot, and about 45 minutes before the race was my first couple laps, so I was struggling with it at first, but man, in these cars, this track is just such a blast with the long sweeping turns. You start getting some slip angle. It's so much fun. I think, just the enjoyment aspect just, kept me consistent, so.
Yeah, and then that second race was amazing to watch as you kind of worked your way up there, and everybody who was fighting for third tend to get taken out. You included at some point, and you get way back up in there. What was it? It was just that second race, the top 4, 5, 6, however big it was. Everyone just started fighting at every corner. Was it just too much fun? You couldn't hold back?
Yeah, I think with the spins that happened at the beginning of the race, there was almost a little bit of a reverse grid put in, so everyone was trying to go for it, and kind of in that middle pack, there was some people with some pace, and people, my strategy was to put as many cars as I could between me and Mike Dam, because I knew he was gonna get up there fast, and I wasn't able to pull away from him. But yeah, what a great race!
It was so much fun to watch, and you were a huge part of it tonight. You're gonna love going back and watch this one because
it
was exciting, up and down. But you managed to get to that 4th spot here in the second race, so great result. Kind of a bit of survival there as well to hang on to that top 4. So Nate, congrats on that tonight, and we'll see how things go in a couple weeks.
All right, that's it.
All right, there you go. Nate Nicholson from Delta Sport. There we go. Oh, hey, look, I got him moved out there. Let's go and now talk to Brennan Horn. Brennan finished second tonight in our second race from D2D Racing.
The D2D team tonight showing up. Brennan Horan, second in the second race, and a pretty respectful 5th in that first race. But the second to me just seems so exciting. How was that from your seat?
Yeah, that was nuts. I think we had some people in the back of the pack, oh, good save. But I think all of us in the top 5 or 6 were all sideways at every corner, so it was really tough to pull off passes and get close to people. But, of course, we kind of have to do that since it's kind of the nature of what we do here. So it was really sketchy, and I had a lot of 1X incidents, but no, it was fun.
Yeah, it looked like quite a few 1Xs, maybe a bunch of 0Xs, and there may have been a little bit of rubbing here and there. But in the last couple laps, you had John Allen and Nate Nicholson behind you. How are you? Are you watching a mirror, or are you just trying to find a way through Travis up in front?
Luckily, their cars are bright enough colors where I can kind of, keep my eyes on the road, but I can definitely tell that they're behind me when a big red flash or a blue flash shows up in my mirror. And, I wouldn't say I was driving in my mirrors, but I was definitely aware that they were there, and I was adamant on not letting them by.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. It's tough to drive a wide car around this place, but you managed to, and to pull off that second spot up there on the podium and bring on home for D2D Racing. But tell me, who do you want to give a shout out and thanks to?
First and foremost, D2D Racing. Of course, Bobby and Chris and David. I owe them a lot, especially this week, coming off of the World Challenge race, and where I had an incident with Chris, and then this week with David. And they worked all week on the setup, and without them, I wouldn't have been able to get this finish. So big thanks to them. Extreme for putting on this great series, and Ricmotech for sponsoring it. And of course, Proforma Elite Textures Graphics for sponsoring D2D and the series itself. And you guys for putting on a great broadcast. And BCR Designs and my family for their support.
Some job tonight.
Like a question.
Yeah, you did they support? They supported. Of course, the family supports. They always do, as do all the teams and sponsors. So we appreciate all of them, and we appreciate you, Brennan, tonight putting on such a good show and bringing it home there in the second race in the second spot. So congrats on that, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there you go from D2D Racing. It was, and it is, or it may be, Brennan Horn. All right, so let's bring in Travis Schwenke from Orion Racing. Not the best first race of the evening, I'm sure, but a great result here for race number 2.
Yeah, so Travis, that first race didn't go so well, even was given a penalty. We won't go into that, but to go from the back to the front in the second race, can you remember any of it, or was it just one big 30-minute blur?
Probably the first 16 minutes are a blur, and then when I was caught up to the pack, it was like, okay, what are we gonna do? And it was mayhem. I think lap 14, 15, 16, 17, that whole section, I thought we were gonna have a couple 3 wides down the backstretch. Just really respectful racing. Everyone kept it nice and clean. Unfortunately, Mike got caught up in a little incident there, but you watch it, it was pretty. There was no malicious there. It was just an incident that happened, unfortunately.
Yeah, a lot of tight quarters racing, as you mentioned, some 2 or 3 wides on the back straight, a couple of 2 or 3 wides on the front straight, and it's one of those nights where your head's got to be on a swivel. You just kind of always got to be aware, but you're also looking for opportunities to make passes and to go from when you catch the pack in 6th all the way up into the lead. Are you looking for opportunities, or are you just dodging the smoke?
Yeah, I mean it's different racing, right? You're setting up, you're seeing what they're doing in front of you. It's the guy in front has to get by, but he also has to watch when someone's that close behind. And even though Mike and I didn't communicate at the time, I thought he had him set up for the inside move, which he did. He had Brennan set up for it. And unfortunately, something happened and they touched, and I had already set it up myself, so I just had to go the inside and take both of them. I was hoping just to follow Mike right through originally, but it's just what happened. But I was already set up for that, 2 corners before that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then once he's gone, you're finding yourself up there in the front, and it's almost like next man up. You're fighting with Brennan, who's fighting with John, fighting with Nate. The 4 of you guys essentially finished that race nose to tail, touching like you're linked. What's your heart rate at that point of the race? The last 2-3 laps, I mean, you can't even breathe.
Yeah, it's funny. My buddy texted me right afterwards, right after the race. He was watching it, and I said, I think my heart rate's 140 right now. I mean, it was definitely up there when you do that. But great excitement, of course, finishing across the line first. So
that was amazing. And they say, oh, inverted grid, you must have started in the front. No, that once they got the grid all sorted out, you still started at the back and managed to get your way all the way through and take the win. Well earned, well deserved, well needed win here in the second round here tonight for Orion Racing. So Travis, I got to ask, who do you want to thank for this great performance tonight?
I'll thank Orion. I'll definitely thank my teammates. We didn't put our normal practice time in, but we worked together to set something up to make a couple changes to the car. Thank Sim Racing RC, and thank Apex for putting these on, and obviously Extreme for this series. It's you can see how competitive the top of this field is, and even the amateurs, they're putting on a good show behind. It's great stuff.
Absolutely. Some of the best racing anybody will catch anywhere. And tonight you managed to come out on top in the second race. Great performance for you. Congrats, Travis, on that win.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. Travis Schwenke from Orion Racing taking your win in race number 2. And Larry, it took a few minutes. I'm glad we brought one extra person into the booth for an interview because we now have our points updated and quickly here. John Allen, of course, still your championship leader with 174 points. That is only 5 points clear of Robert Hartley in second, 30 points from the lead back to Brennan Horn, then Travis Schwenke and Chris Thorman. Mike Dams finds himself currently in, I believe, let's take a look here, in 6th position. All right, and if we take a look in the AM category, I'll bet you tonight really helped Mike Taylor, but Craney Customs, Jeff Cranston, still your championship leader at the moment.
I'm actually showing Mike Taylor over Cranston.
I'm showing a 9-point differential between Cranston and Taylor, but then again, I'm not taking the drops into account. So that may be it. Then another 7 back to Steve Daniel, then Brock White, then Payne. But I could be wrong, Larry.
It's going to come down to we're going to take it into the streets at Mid-Ohio in 2 weeks. I just had to throw in that quote there for you. But the Mid-Ohio will be our showdown.
Yes. Another great song that involved Michael McDonald. Excellent. All right. Well, tell you what, Larry, let's wrap things up here. And as you said, let's take a look at what we've got coming up on the schedule. And in 2 weeks will be round number 9, the final round, the ultimate round here of the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. That is December 5th, Monday night, December 5th. But before that, next Monday night, we're going to be in Suzuka. We'll virtually be in Suzuka. It's a long trip. But we're going to be in Suzuka for the Ricmotech World Challenge. Those are GT3 and TCR cars for a 90-minute round. So please join us next Monday night. And, of course, we've just announced that the Ricmotech Sports Car Series will return this January. Round number 1 is going to be at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. It's going to be Monday night, January 9th. So please mark that down on your calendar and join us then for our GT4 and TCR racers, and should be a very good time. A reminder to everybody, if you liked what you saw here tonight, and if you like Larry's references to Michael McDonald songs, please give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe to Apex Racing TV and click on that notification bell so you can find out all the times we go live. And of course, you can find us on Instagram, on Twitter, and for as long as it's still around, and on Facebook. Just search for one word, Apex Racing TV. So for Larry Lefty McLeod, for the Johns back in the booth, Jonathan Grabowski and John Robertson, I'm Greg Ginsburg, and we'll see you next Monday night from Suzuka.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.